skies over DC, coffee in my hand. Saw the headlines from a faraway land, South Africa's politicos
running their mouth again about America and me. Where does it all end? Near about a whole year of the same old tune,
name calling in tall tales beneath the African moon. Oh, it's more trash in the USA, I declare, while their own folks are struggling beyond all compare. Pointing fingers outward, ignoring what's inside. For Afrikaners and minorities, nowhere left to hide. Well, this cowboy's had enough,
patience wearing thin.
Gonna tell the world the truth.
Where do I begin? They talk about freedom and justice for all, while their own people are answering a different call.
Farmers on their homesteads,
living in fear and dread.
Minority voices silence words left unsaid.
Promises like tumbleweeds blowing in the breeze, while their leaders keep on preaching, bringing us to our knees. Oh, it's more trash in the USA, I declare, while their own folks are struggling beyond all compare. Pointing fingers outward, ignoring what's inside. For Afrikaners and minorities, nowhere left to hide. Well, this cowboy's had enough, patience wearing thin.
Gonna tell the world the truth.
Where do I begin?
I try to stay quiet,
let it roll right on by,
but a man can only take so much beneath God's sky. That's the honest truth.
When you see folks suffering, it just ain't right.
Gonna set the record straight. In the USA, I declare, while their own folks are struggling beyond all compare. Pointing fingers outward, ignoring what's inside. For Afrikaners and minorities, nowhere left to hide. Well, this cowboy's had enough,
patience wearing thin.
Gonna tell the world the truth.
Where do I begin?
Yeah, more trash in the USA,
but the truth will find its way.
Pretoria, listen up to what I gotta say. God bless America, come what may.
Come what may.
Marvin Devine. I'm saying bye to all the lies and all the times you cried, saying that I wasn't right, yet I was right by your side. You manipulator, playing games, your friends commentators, and I don't know what you say about our private conversations, but it's got them hating. Thanks to all the rumors you be claiming. It's cool, I'm done with you, so they can throw you a celebration. You gon' hate it when you see me with somebody living better. I'm trying to tell you that me just doing me gon' have you jealous.
Hello folks, welcome back. This is Chris live in Central Pennsylvania this Wednesday, the 19th of November, 2025. Sound check. Hey, the 19th. Good, it's working. All right, so a couple programming announcements. I'm going to ask people to please listen carefully, okay? Just have the courtesy to listen carefully. Okay. Last night I made a video after getting confirmation, able to confirm multiple ways that the refugee flow to the United States will resume in a matter of a few short days. I intentionally left the date off. Yes, I know the date, and yes, I have known for some time, but it's not something I can share publicly, and so I haven't done that. When you're entrusted with secrets, you must keep them. But it wasn't just a secret, it was also people running their mouths, and I had to weigh that. So last night I stayed up very late after I was able to run down some information and confirm that, in fact, refugees will begin flowing to the United States again very soon. Someone went on my video and posted when. I intentionally left that out. Please have consideration for other people, all right? This is a security concern. You put the lives of our government workers in jeopardy. You put the lives of refugees in jeopardy. You put the future of people in jeopardy. We've already seen in September when people ran their mouth and posted things they were told not to post, and in the violation of the non-disclosure agreement. By the way, if you violate your non-disclosure agreement that you sign as a potential refugee, you can lose your refugee status on that basis alone. And then you can deal with the racial persecution on your own. Please listen to what I'm saying. It's not rocket science. It's not an admonition. I'm not yelling at you. I'm not ranting. I'm simply asking people to listen. 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 Do not disclose interview locations. Do not disclose your status. Do not disclose the date you're flying or where you're flying from. Please stop doing that. Well, people have been doing it for months. See, it started in August. You got some real blabbermouths. You know, there are a number of people who have been genuinely racially persecuted, but they're using this program as a cheap immigration scheme. And shame on those people. Shame on them because of the way they're behaving. You need to stop it, okay? So the next thing is that I published that video last night at 3 a.m. and I received multiple messages from people asking me why they haven't left. When are people leaving? Have you seen this in groups? Stop going to groups. I've asked you all to stop going to groups. There you go. See, Neff, 70 Rand. You got a call last night. Thank you. Stop these WhatsApp groups. Stop the Facebook groups. They're toxic. You're just listening to rumors. You are chasing your tail. You are chasing your tail. Okay? Now, I had several people tell me people were leaving on a certain date, and I said, nope. And when I told them nope, it was still a true statement. But what needed to happen has happened since then. All right? The consultations took place this week. So at least that's what the government claims. So instead of default sending me an email message or default sending me a WhatsApp or Telegram and asking questions over and over again, please have the courtesy to go to my channel first. All right? It's very unfair to people to constantly demand attention when I've already answered the questions. I don't mind answering people's questions, but this has become too much. Please have the consideration. My time is just as valuable as your time is. My life and what's left of it is just as valuable as your life. Please stay out of the WhatsApp groups and come here. I have never misled anyone. I've never asked anyone for money. I've never demanded anyone give me anything. I've never had wrong predictions by and large. My analysis has been spot on from the very beginning, in a dearth of information, in an opaque situation. If you don't believe me, then don't send me questions. If you don't believe me, then don't watch my program. But if you watch the program, please have the courtesy to watch the videos. I will make another video today, taking another hour out of my time that I cannot afford this afternoon. One time I was supposed to have a couple hours. I will do that to explain to people what I'm about to explain. On the 4th of November, the U.S. Embassy updated their website, and there was a major change to the refugee program. Specifically, they have an intake questionnaire. So if you're just arriving after 10 months and crawling out from under a rock somewhere in the Karoo and discovering there's a refugee program, guess what? You need to go fill the intake questionnaire out. It's information they need for the interviews, and you're making it easier on them to do the interviews. It makes it go quicker and gives them easier time doing research on you for your background checks. The website clearly states, and there's a little ambiguity, but there's no ambiguity in my mind anymore. The website clearly states the following. If you sent in a statement of interest and you have not had an interview since you sent it in, you must do the intake questionnaire. I received another question this morning from a family asking me, we did a statement of interest in April. It wasn't April, it would have been May. Did a statement of interest in May. We haven't heard anything. What should we do? Well, you should watch my videos. Since the 4th of November, I've repeated this over and over and over and over and over and over again. And for the people who send me messages like this and say, well, I watch your program, that's not true. If you watch my program, you would not be asking these questions because I've answered the questions. Now, I don't expect everybody to watch everything, but watch the short videos that talk specifically about this. Go to the refugee list. There's a playlist that says refugee. Look at the videos. See if it's answer your questions. Last night's video was 2 minutes and 21 seconds. Hardly a major time commitment on anyone's part. It takes longer to type up a WhatsApp message to send it to me or an email to send me that than it took to watch the video. With the video, I can reach an audience of thousands. If I'm answering messages from 300 people every day, then I can't answer questions for thousands. I'm not asking you not to write to me. I'm asking you to have consideration. All right? That is a question on the refugee Cafe Clutch, which we've had twice since that date. I've answered. That is a question I've answered on every stream where we talk about refugees at the end of the broadcast. Please have consideration. All right? It's really unfair to everyone else, not just to me. All right? Okay. So there's a program announcement. As a consequence of all of this morning I missed an important interview. I was supposed to be interviewed this morning, and I was unable to do it because I was dealing with this. And the Veterans Organization, which the damn door doesn't work now. So now they need a new computer. So I took my new computer and donated to the Veterans Organization this morning, one that I bought that I needed. So now I don't have that computer. It's not the end of the world. I could live without it. But I bought a computer. It's been sitting here waiting to get set up. And now I had to go give it to the Veterans Organization so they could get their door working properly. And Neff just finally got a call. Thank you for the super chats coming in. We got a couple small ones coming in. Appreciate that. I don't know what all you guys are saying here. We want to get to the news. I finally got a call from RSC. The gentleman was very polite and supportive. He asked where I would like to go for the interviews. Durban, Joburg, Cape Town, or Pretoria. Yep, there you go. And that's also a prediction I made. I told you folks that in August, that after October 1st, I expect to see the U.S. government begin to have interviews in multiple places. PE is one of them I mentioned too, that it's likely, or Bloemfontein. That hasn't happened yet. But it didn't happen then because the government was closed down. So now it's back up. No, they don't realize the seriousness of being a refugee and how the government views it. Following operational security is not an option. It's a requirement. Hold your tongue. You're right, Jack. No, because a lot of these people are just economic migrants. They're not real refugees, which is what the government of South Africa is saying. And all they're doing is proving the government of South Africa right when there are people who are genuine refugees who need to come over. Inquisitive, self-centered people, we know you're desperate, but simply don't. Some of us are genuinely at risk. Exactly, Alan. Amanda says, thank you for your dedication. Thank you for the 140 Rand, Amanda. Appreciate that. That's not a small super chat. Got my first call this morning, says Kathleen. Yes, be patient. It won't happen yet. Send an email. If you have a chance, please have a look at it for me. Nolene. I'll try, Nolene. Your number is exposed. You can be tracked. I don't know what you mean by being tracked. You can be tracked anywhere. I can find any one of you. If you've got a mobile phone, you don't have to have WhatsApp. I can find you. First off, I can find out your number if I'm that interested. If I was working for the government, it's child's play. It's child's play. Just let you all know that Steve Newbold is in the hospital. Apparently, he has a massive heart attack. Oh my goodness! All right, thank you for that, Thomas Harps. Wow, thoughts and prayers. Well, they're finally asking after screwing things up, and you know why? Because I keep telling them they're screwing things up. Bernard Terreblanche got a phone call last week. You need to start blocking people that cannot respect your time. Well, then, Sigi, frankly, I'd block most of my viewers. I can't do that. Secret security is paramount situation license not only for one's life, but for those giving you the service too. Yes, we have Americans that don't know South Africa that their lives are in jeopardy with this nonsense. Hi, Colonel. What are you saying? Is it on the American website? Okay, I don't understand that question. Is what on the American website? I mean, I can't read minds, Liva Matki, your lovely mate. Please tell me what you're asking there. I don't understand that. I'm well aware there's a crap load of people doing anything about the program because the government has hidden it. Also, people live in caves. So they need to come out of the cave occasionally. Secrecy and security is paramount. Okay, got that already. Exactly, Colonel. People are too lazy to watch and search and read. Exactly. Your analysis of Franco Musso's red card was also correct. Red card diversity. Yeah, I'm going to talk about that, James. Yeah, my analysis is that red card. And that was objective. That wasn't biased. I mean, remember, I said that I thought Lut Diago was a bit reckless. But on review, I admitted that I may have been a bit wrong on that, but it was still a yellow card. But most starts was not even a card. It wasn't even a penalty. It's just nonsense. And they reversed the one in Japan too. The images, they have no choice. First off, they've already pulled this crap where they gave a 9-week suspension to Jan Henrik Vesels with no evidence. No evidence. No admission of guilt, no evidence. How do you do that? That's not real. Just frustrating if you're in the process, get stuck. Yeah, I got you. Well, lots of people are passing lots of people. Cyrus, what's up? Don't understand English, get someone to translate before you run off. Yep. Okay, I feel ashamed on people's behalf for so responsible. No, there's probably just the same people that have always been selfish and self-centered their entire lives. Everyone that says, I got a call has exposed themselves already. What part of stupid is so difficult? The channel is monitored. Stupid people announce themselves. Well, Gareth, that's fine. A lot of these people don't use their real name here. They may use a name that looks like a real name, but it's not the real name. Sally Struthers is not Sally Struthers, okay? So that's fine. But yeah. One would think grown-ups get why dates and locations should be disclosed. And it's not fair to you, Chris. If you didn't disclose time, date, people should know there's a reason you didn't. No, but they don't think. They don't think. I knew the date. I've known the date for some time when people are going to resume. It was a question of what was going to happen or not. I was concerned that the date that people are flying in the next few days wasn't going to happen because something else had not happened that had to happen in D.C. Well, that thing in D.C. that had to happen has happened. All right, and that's nobody's business. Nobody needs to worry about that. So thank you, EB, for the 14 Rand super chat. Clouds are gathering. Paws and claws. How sure are we that the Bidvest guards at the venues won't disclose the address location? Well, first off, why are you mentioning Bidvest guards? Who said they're Bidvest guards? How do you know something like that? That already is something you shouldn't be talking about, unless you're making a joke. We don't know. Those people will be fired. And I think they need their jobs more than they need to disclose locations. So, yeah. It was a WhatsApp voice call just for your info purposes. Yeah, okay, thank you, Neff. Which I've told people, you'll get WhatsApp calls too. Yep. I can speak today saying to everyone, you do speak truth. I was also worrying it was all for nothing. We went to our fingerprints today, and I can say be patient. Yes, Anna, and you drove me batshit crazy, didn't you? Didn't you, Anna? Didn't you? Be honest, Anna. You drove me batshit crazy. You must have sent me 10,000, I'm embellishing 10,000 WhatsApp messages, moaning and complaining about things. I'm not picking on you, Anna, but you did. And I asked you to be patient, and I was very patient with you. Was I not, Anna? Was I not? Tell people the truth. Okay. Not that you're not telling people the truth. Call from CW this morning, Port Elizabeth. Okay, Port Elizabeth. There you go. See, like I said, that's probably going to be an option. Bloemfontein might also come on the table. I can't promise Polokwane. Okay. Okay, and snippets from South that people get what? Whoa, it jumped on me there. People get confused. Well, then they need to listen. They need to listen. What's with the beard? What are you talking about? You started your backup buddy for your castle. Oh, yeah, Fabian, I need a backup buddy for my castle. But then I'm going to need a backup buddy to pay the taxes every month. The taxes were $300,000 a month. Yeah, that's insane. We have JDAMs for caves. We do, Holton. That's what we have JDAMs for. Say the F word again. Fantastic. A couple that was at our interview have been in the States since before the shutdown, but we'll stay hopeful. I don't understand that. Lutiager, they are appealing Arctic. That's the Springboks are appealing his. Program details are all on the Americanos website, those that are in the process and those that have never been contacted. Well, Yuliva Matki, the program details are all listed on the US Embassy website. Why go to the Americanos? Why come to my channel? Just go to the embassy website, za.usembassy.gov. How many million times do I have to point that out to people? Etienne Bronkhorst gave 350 Rand super chat. Say, Colonel, here's something toward new PC. I sent you an email reference interview status if you get time. Thank you very much, Etienne Bronkhorst, and thank you for the 350 Rand. That's a nice super chat. Italy investigating Bosnian siege and accusation that tourists paid to snipe and shoot citizens stuck in siege. What Bosnian siege? Thank you for third. Etienne, you might have missed. Oh, why don't retract your message, man? You paid 35 Rand for it. I see your message. I didn't miss it. I just hadn't got to it yet. There's a lot here. Okay. Been waiting since November 16th. October 16th to call, but still trying and hoping. Okay, so just another girl. Then appealed Ludyard. Yes, they appealed it, yes. You are a lucky charm. Sent you an email completely unrelated to refugee program. Got my first contact. It's paid 2 hours later. Well, maybe the government's monitoring my communications. Maybe. I don't know. Doesn't matter, Colonel. Bidvest is a big company with guards all over the country. Yes, but so is G4S is also there. So, there are other security companies. So let's be patient here. Just another girl, waited 6 months. Don't worry. It's only a month you've been waiting. Carry on with your life. Yep. Breaking news, the G20. Okay, let me see what that is. Go to the website. That's not breaking news. That's I already have that story up in the queue. I already have the story up in the queue. Thank you for that one. Well, thank you for your time and assistance. Appreciate you. And now, if you wore your blue bull jersey, my husband's very impressed. Well, tell your husband he should be impressed because I'm an accredited journalist at Loftus. When the Boers of English moved inland, I have no idea what that is. Okay. Who can't handle the truth? A lot of people can't handle the truth. Apparently, gripping in the air over Josie again. Wonder how many pilots the planes have. They have one pilot qualified for 2 aircraft. Last time I checked. Maybe they got another one qualified in the meantime. All right, we're going to get to the news here shortly, folks. Please be patient. CNN should change their slogan to spread your wings and fly away from the facts. That's good, Joe DeCalk. I like that. That's very good. That's pretty good. They interviewed same time as us, and they flew to America before the shutdown started, and we're still here. Quits. Who is they? Okay. Alan, I see your messages. They are going through. Artie says hit enter. I was also patient waiting for me, and then got an email in October to say I would receive a call. Okay, well, just another girl, then you should follow my advice and what the embassy website says. You haven't had an interview. Go do the questionnaire. If you haven't got an interview, I'm going to say this again. I said at the outset, and now I got people 24 minutes later saying exactly, not listening to what I said. If you have never gotten an email, or excuse me, if you've never had an interview with anybody, with an American, with RSC, with the Amerikaners, if you've not had an interview, you need to do the intake questionnaire. Leave this stream right now and go fill the damn thing out. And stop saying that you haven't heard anything. All right? Thank you, Francois Fisahi. Also, I wanted to ask, our travel stage was in pro and now says not started. Our security guard checks are now showing price. Again, this is not a FT broadcast, but you spent 200 Rand, so I will address it. This is the news. I'm just asking people to start paying attention to what I'm doing. In progress, but never before everything was stated as complete. Francois, I don't understand what you're saying. You're looking at the portal and it's telling you your thing was started, then it said it was completed, now it's not completed. I don't know why that is, and I don't have an answer on it. I don't see the portal that you guys see, so it's really difficult for me to comment on that. But you've had interviews. Your checks are being done or are done. Then it's going to happen, okay? Cesar Sarajevo. Well, okay, we're talking about 1992, Daniel. 1992, right? The United States recently quietly lifted the sanctions on the Bosnian Serb separatist leader. Got you. Yes, I have vintage South African postage stamps. The airlines, I didn't know they had them. But yes, I do collect stamps. Thank you. Statement of interest 1 month after it became available. Never heard anything. Submitted a new form. Heard 5 days later. Okay, there you go. If a person is conditionally approved under sections of 7, does it conditionally mean they're still deciding? No, I've already answered this question many, many times, Shelley, on this broadcast and on the refugee situation. Provisionally approved is everybody. You're all provisionally approved. Because it can always be revoked at any time. So it doesn't really tell me anything. It means your medicals are done, there's nothing wrong with that, and that their background checks have turned up nothing. But they continue to do background checks after they provisionally approve you. So, I mean, people have been provisionally approved in other countries are later rejected because they find they were war criminals, you know? All right, we need to get to the news here shortly. Almost a half hour on this. People come for the news. Just want to get your view on President Trump's executive order to help fund foster child. Previously thought dropped. This really shows forethought. Yeah, President Trump's a very compassionate person. This is a huge announcement. Melania Trump was there. She was a big architect trying pushing for this. Yep. What are my thoughts on it? I think it's fantastic. The adoption process and foster care are so screwed up in this country because states run it and they all run it differently. Reaper, 70 Rand Super Chat. Thank you for that. So were they practicing how to fly over Johannesburg with the Gripen? I think you need to make a banner, Colonel, and just put at the bottom. If your show, then you don't need to keep repeating yourself. Well, I still have to repeat myself. Cash in transit robbery in Rustenburg. Suspect killed himself. Wow, that's crazy. A little worried. Heard nothing since Teams almost 3 months ago. Waiting an interview. If you've never had an interview, Charmaine, then you need to go fill out the intake questionnaire. All right. I would keep an eye on the Yugoslav region. Okay. Well. All right. Thank you. Exactly. Trump's your. And waiting since August, and they've done the questionnaire. Okay. Summary, save my super chat so you don't have to sing, Colonel, but did approve the rant and swearing. I saw your comment there. You don't mind me swearing. Look, it's for effect, folks. Look, I mean, you know, people might say that's lowbrow, but look, I grew up in poverty, and I don't sit with a silver spoon in the country club. So when it's necessary for effect, I will fire for effect. That's the purpose of profanity. Yeah. I'm not on mute, Dylan. I'm not on mute. You're not hearing me? Dylan, I'm not on mute. No, I'm not on mute. You're mistaken. Free fuel, it seems. Yeah. Okay, now let's get to the news. A black Huey with gold maskings jet flew over a place that, well, lots of stuff happening in advance of the G20. They're trying to get the pilots a few hours so they're competent when it's time to do it. All right, ladies and gentlemen. It's 12:30 now on the East Coast, which means it's 7:30 in South Africa. It's time for the news. Now that we've had all that, thank you all for the super chats. Don't stop them. You can keep them coming if you don't mind. But let's get to the news. It is time to discuss today's news, and there's a lot of breaking news from around the world, and let's just get started with South Africa. Why not? It's where we always start. President Trump blasts South Africa's extermination policies and links it to his G20 absence. In a bold statement, President Trump has again unleashed sharp criticism of South Africa's policies, accusing Pretoria of participating in the extermination of people and citing it as a primary reason for his decision to skip the G20. Let me start by saying, Amanda Koza, that is news reporting. I just want to give my hats off to Amanda Koza. Her news reporting is pretty good, but she does throw some op-ed in there. That is news. That statement is accurate. In a bold statement, it was a bold statement, President Trump has again unleashed sharp criticism of South Africa's policies, accusing Pretoria of participating in the extermination of people, and she put in quotes because that's his quotation, and citing it as a primary reason for his decision to skip the G20. That's news. That's how the news used to be. That's news reporting. Thank you, Amanda Koza at News 24. But I worry it gets worse. Anyway. Trump's latest statement underscored his unapologetic approach to international diplomacy and his management of the strained relations between Pretoria and Washington. I'll go along with that. That's free. Yep. Anyway, so that's Trump. And this is what President Trump actually had to say, ladies and gentlemen. Get ready for this. Is going to knock your socks off. If you haven't watched my video already, which 60,000 people watched, this is going to knock your socks off.
That are taking place. Some Palestinians are being charged up to $2,000.
I'm not going to South Africa for the G20 because I think their policies on the extermination of people are unacceptable. So I'm not going, so I won't refer to anything having to do with South Africa. South Africa has behaved extremely badly. But
wow, Trump lays it out right there, ladies and gentlemen. Donald Trump, thank you for the super chat there, Orson. Yep. Oh, Orson, the email. You're welcome. Wow. Ingrid says, I understand 100% if you occasionally use profanity to underscore how serious you are, Chris. You've shown more professionalism and patience than anyone could ask for. I take my hat off you. Thank you very much, Ingrid. I appreciate this. Very kind of you. But Donald Trump didn't pull any punches. Donald Trump said that South Africa is exterminating people. Now, listen, that's a bit of hyperbole. The government isn't exterminating people, okay? So the good news is that Cyril Ramaphosa's response to that has been tempered so far. That's good. We'll talk about that. And we've not seen any response come from Ronald Lamola, who accused Trump of being a white supremacist a couple of days ago, putting his foot in his mouth, which is why Trump said this. So here's the thing people have to learn about Trump. If you attack Trump personally, he is merciless. He's merciless. He will come after you. His patience with South Africa's politicians calling him white supremacist and lying about him has been unbelievably patient. Do you know why? Because South Africa doesn't matter. South Africa simply does not matter to Washington. It is a rounding error in a very large portfolio of things that have to be dealt with. Gaza, Ukraine, inflation, tariffs, China. The list is endless. The Democrats, the Republicans. Trump does not stay awake at night worrying about South Africa. The ANC stays awake at night worrying about tariffs, but they don't. Trump doesn't worry about South Africa. So when you insult Trump, eventually he's going to come back. And that's what this is. This is a response to the CNN documentary that occurred on Sunday, the 16th of November, when Donnie O'Sullivan and CNN put Ronnie Lamola on there. Ronnie Lamola said, yes, I think he's a white supremacist. It's a white supremacist agenda. This is a response. No, I stand corrected, Arctic. You are correct. You are correct. He did not state that South African government is doing. He says they're exterminating people. Yep. But listen to what he said, the whole thing. So you're correct with the terminology, but the essence of it, I'm analyzing it. I'm not stating for a fact. I'm analyzing it. So listen to what he says.
That are taking place. Some Palestinians are being charged up to $2,000.
I'm not going to South Africa for the G20 because I think their policies on the extermination of
Okay, so there is my analysis. He is saying their policies on the extermination. Well, policies aren't promulgated by third-party actors. They're promulgated by the government, Arctic. That's why my analysis is he's saying this is directed at the government of South Africa. All right? Yeah, the Trump might be awake longer than me. Yep. After no one giving a crap, for the first time, someone thinks about us. Yep. Yep. And the thing is that every time the ANC ups the ante, it just draws Trump's attention. And it gets more serious about it. Well, there's a reason, Rainier Nabal, that Julius Malema hasn't made a peep. Because Julius Malema threatened the life of President Trump, and it was reported to the Secret Service. There may very well be an international arrest warrant for Julius Malema. He also hasn't left the country, to my knowledge, since then. He was denied access to the UK, but he wasn't denied access anywhere else, but he hasn't left the country. Yes, Julius Malema may very well risk being incarcerated if he comes to America. So, yeah. Yep. So Trump says this. Trump, oh my goodness. He said their policies. And Ramaphosa responds. Whoops, that's the wrong one. No wonder that didn't come up right. There we go. Ramaphosa responds to U.S. criticism, defends inclusive G20 summit. But this isn't his extermination comment. This is about the G100. President Ramaphosa has addressed criticism from Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent regarding South Africa's presidency. Speaking at a working dinner with South Africa's CEOs in Sandton last night, part of the G20 outreach program, Ramaphosa indirectly responded to Bessent's remarks. We're actually the president of a very unique G20 process, much as it isn't much appreciated elsewhere in the world, where it is said that we are convening a G100. We are convening an inclusive summit. So here's the problem, Cyril Ramaphosa. The purpose of G20 is not inclusion. The purpose of G20 is to promote the economies of its member states and international trade. That is the purpose of the G20, not your fantasy. You are turning it into a café clutch, a useless, do-nothing body. The G7 can reach consensus. The G20 cannot reach consensus. This is not the purpose of the G20. You're undermining the purpose of G20 for your parochial wants and needs, just like you lied about vaccine apartheid. Remember that? That will not be forgotten. That will not be forgotten. That will not be forgotten. You can think that people have forgotten your arrogant asshattery running around screaming vaccine apartheid when your pharmaceutical industry in South Africa did jack squat to fix this problem. What did you do? You sat back and cried. You signed up for the COVAX or whatever it was, the UN scam that the UN said we're going to deliver all these vaccines to people. But the UN doesn't develop vaccines. Private companies do that. No state developed a vaccine. Private companies did. And look, don't even try to twist this and say, oh, you're in favor of the jab. No, I'm not in favor of the jab. I'm just telling you the facts. Cyril Ramaphosa ran around the world screaming vaccine apartheid, calling the West and America racist. Calling us racist because we didn't give you vaccine. Well, remember when this all started? The elites, the university professors, and the connected people in Africa, especially in South Africa, ran around saying, oh, this is racist. They're testing the vaccine on Africans. That's total BS. No vaccines were tested on Africans because Africa's pharmaceutical industry didn't do jack squat to create a vaccine. The guinea pigs, the victims, the people who tested the untested stuff in a 7-month trial period from development to execution were white people overwhelmingly in the United States and the United Kingdom. They were the test subjects. White people, not Africans. They lied about it. And when that was disproven, they did all the damage to race relations they could. Then we have Cyril Ramaphosa lying about vaccine apartheid. He runs a vaccine apartheid, vaccine apartheid, vaccine apartheid. There's no vaccine apartheid, you dingbat. You chose to not engage Aspen Pharmacare, which has billions at its disposal in Port Elizabeth and elsewhere, to manufacture a vaccine against us. You sat back and waited for other people to do it. Then you called us racist. And then on top of that, we gave Aspen Pharmacare $711 million to develop vaccine for the African continent. How many doses of COVID vaccine has Aspen Pharmacare delivered to Africa? Does anybody know? To my knowledge, none. Not a single one. Where did the $711 million go to? Where did the $711 million that the European Union, half of it, and half of it came from the American government, that went to South Africa's Aspen Pharmacare, where is that money? You want to talk about corruption? That's 15 billion rand. 15 billion rand. Where is that money? Where is that money? The G20's purpose is not debt relief for Africans, deadbeat states. The purpose of G20 is not Ubuntu. The purpose of G20 is not solidarity. The purpose of G20 is not white replacement theory. The purpose of the G20 is to reach consensus about international relations when it relates to economic affairs. You've turned into the G100. It's ridiculous. This is the story that Mad Max or somebody sent me a short while ago. It was already in my queue. U.S. in 11th hour move to thwart the SA's G20. This is from Lizika Tandwa. Now, I'm going to say this about Lizika Tandwa. I'm not going to speak evil about her, but I'm going to say that she doesn't understand how note verbals and diplomacy work. Cheyenne Jacobs, 350 Rand. Thank you so much for that super sticker. Appreciate that. Or super chat without a messenger. Thank you so much for that. So this is a story being crafted to say the U.S. is basically trying to threaten South Africa. That's not it. The U.S. sent a note verbal. A note verbal is the normal way that embassies and governments communicate. When you have to pass a message to the government, you send a note verbal. That's how you do it. Having worked in dozens of embassies and lived in dozens of embassies, or in almost 10 embassies, I can tell you this is how the way it works. Okay, first off, Annabelle Fredericks, I'm going to correct you right there. A few 100,000 Jews came to America during the 1930s. We did evacuate Jews from Germany. Yeah, we did. But we were very selective about it. We didn't take them all. A few 100,000 Jews came here. How do you think, who's the most famous physicist of all time? Who is it? He's German. Albert Einstein, German Jew. Came to America in the 1930s. We took hundreds of thousands. So let's get rid of that canard about America didn't give Jews refuge. We didn't give enough Jews refuge, but we gave Jews refuge. That's a fairy tale. Albert Einstein. How do you think Einstein got here? U.S. has written to Pretoria warning against making G20 declaration without its presence. This is the last-ditch effort by the U.S. to undermine South Africa's G20 presidency. No, it's not that. I'm sorry. Was it Lizika? What's your name? Lizika. Lizika, you're wrong. You don't understand how these things work. Sunday Times understands the U.S. has made attempts to bully allies to not agree to a leader's declaration during the summit. Well, that may be true, but why don't you tell us how you know that? Negotiations happen under the premise that the declaration can be adopted by all members representing the meetings. The U.S. has opted for a full boycott. In diplomatic notes seen by the Sunday Times and dated 15 November, Washington said it opposes issuance of G20 outcome. So this is exactly what they said. As of this correspondence, the United States will not participate in the G20 Sherpa meeting from 16 and 19 November or the G20 Leaders Summit from the 22 and 23 November. South Africa's G20 priorities run counter to U.S. policy views, and we cannot support consensus on any documents negotiated under your presidency. Diplomatic note. If a deliverable is issued under your presidency, it will be framed solely as a chair's statement to accurately reflect the absence of consensus. The note verbal states the U.S. wishes to inform Pretoria of its position regarding G20 consensus, documentation, and communiques that concern any invocation of the full G20 consensus moniker. Yeah, so this isn't bullying. It's simply a statement of fact. We have an obligation to tell South Africa our position when it comes to the consensus. We don't agree with it. That's not bullying. This is a very misleading article by the Times. This is a very misleading, dishonest article. We have an obligation to inform the South African government our position. Since we're not attending, a note verbal was sent. That is how governments interact. Read the Vienna Conventions. Very simple. Bye, Helen. Why are you leaving? Don't like the news? Strong U.S. presence at the business summit, but Trevor Manuel bemoans Trump's moves. Well, thank you, Trevor. Aren't you retired? President Donald Trump may have banned government officials from G20 summit, but America was still front and center at the start of the B20 summit in Sandton. U.S. was not only represented on stage with two of the first four panelists from America, but was also the subject of the first remarks by former Finance Minister Trevor Manuel. Of the speakers and panelists set to appear on Wednesday, a dozen are American, including... okay, see, this is why we're not there. Professor Jeffrey Sachs of Columbia University. Yes, he said, it's not a nice thing to be told you're not welcome in Miami at G20 next year. When you break traditions in this way, it has a profound impact. Well, first off, I don't believe that's what they said. They didn't say that South Africa's not welcome to G20. That's Jeffrey Sachs doing his typical juvenile, a guy with a PhD, a published author like this, a renowned economist, ought to stop using kindergarten language. They weren't excluded. Is he talking about the G100? Yeah, they're not welcome because that's not the purpose of the G20 or the G7. As far as Jeffrey Sachs, this is a man who thinks that if everybody just gave $1, we'd solve world poverty. That's actually what he believes, which tells me he's not a very bright individual. Jeffrey Sachs has never lived in poverty. Jeffrey Sachs has never suffered deprivation. Jeffrey Sachs has no idea what he's talking about. And you might say, well, do you? Yeah, I have. I've lived in poverty. I've lived in abject poverty, had no money, went without food, lived off public assistance as a child. So I do know what it's like. Now, that poverty isn't the same as poverty in Bangladesh, isn't the same as poverty in Somalia or Yemen. I'm not making that claim, but it was poverty. There was want. There was hunger. There was deprivation. So unlike Jeffrey Sachs, I can actually talk about it because I've experienced it. And unlike Jeffrey Sachs, I actually know how the world works. This lunacy of leftists thinking, well, if you just give $1, that's bullshit. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. There will always be inequities on the planet. Always. The zebra will always die if they're weak and slow. The leopard, the cheetah will go for the weakest in the herd. There will always be people who will suffer. It's as simple as that. Humans are involved. Nature is involved. Nature is not perfect. This is a stupid position by Jeffrey Sachs. And if he spoke, I have no interest in the B20 summit whatsoever. None whatsoever. The UK will pursue a full agenda despite U.S. absence. Of course they were. Sir Keir will chummy up to his leftist friends. UK says it will press ahead with a full G20 agenda this weekend despite the U.S. boycott. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer is expected to attend the Leaders' Summit. Well, goody gumdrops. Goody gumdrops. Who cares? UK is a dead country. It's gone. It's gone. It has no impact on the world stage. No influence. Its military is smaller than a freaking band than a crowd at a Bulls Stormers game at Loftus. Please, more people come to Bulls Stormers games at Loftus than are in the British military. They have no geopolitical influence, other than the fact they have some nuclear weapons, and London still matters as a financial center. As leaders pull out the G20, who can capitalize on the opportunity? Says the Daily Maverick. Well, the upcoming G20 meeting in Johannesburg will be without the U.S. government and only a lower level rep from Russia, but a second highest Chinese leader. While the middle powers at the meeting may hope they will share the collective heft and will guide the proceedings, the meeting will represent a win for China. The U.S. is effectively boycotting this year's G20. This is based on the president being in a snit over South African government's alleged domestic policies, as well as Trump's objections to the official objectives of this year's meeting. Well, it's not a snit. It's not alleged policies. These are the policies. I'm sorry there, Jay Brooks Spector, but you're not very well informed, my friend. South Africa does have 145 racial laws. It is expropriating land, and they say it. Take them at their word. Paul Mashatile, Fikile Mabalula, Cyril Ramaphosa all said they're taking land. Ronald Lamola. So why are you questioning that? Why is it alleged? It's not alleged. Well, folks, lots of shutdowns coming up for the G20. Here we go. G20 summit. Here are the routes that the Joburg drivers should avoid over the weekend. Oof, there's quite a few. The G20 summit road closures. National highways will be subject to closures, lane restrictions, intermittent disruptions. The N1, the M1, the N12. Major arterial and urban roads are going to be affected. Northern suburbs, Santon and Rosebank, I guess that's where they're all staying at. 5th Street, Maud Street, Daisy Street, Rivonia Road, Grayston Drive, that's in Santon. Same as Rivonia, Catherine Street, Whiteley Road, Melrose Boulevard, Athol Oaklands Road, Oxford Road, Glenhove Road, western southern suburbs leading to Nazareth, Jan Smuts Avenue, Winnie Mandela Drive, Hendrik Potgieter, Ranch Show Road, Nazareth Road, Golden Highway. Jeez, and these are the alternate routes. Alternate routes. Good luck with that, folks. Alternate routes. Well, folks, bad news for South Africans. Inflation is rising again in South Africa. Consumer Price Index went up 3.8% in September. In October, excuse me. It's October. Went up 3.8% in October. Not good. Inflation is rearing its ugly head. Solidarity is withdrawing its lawsuit against the city of Johannesburg once they agreed to put the darn banners back up. They agreed to an out-of-court settlement. Trade Union Solidarity backtracked at last minute on its legal challenge in which it accused Joburg Metro of gross abuse of state power after Solidarity's banner seeking to brand South Africa's most race-regulated country was removed. So what do you mean they backtracked? They got what they wanted. Their banners are going back up after the city unlawfully removed them. Billions have been wiped out in the government pension fund scheme as the Public Investment Corporation has poorly managed this. The Government Employees Pension Fund reported $3.6 billion in investment write-offs in the past financial year. The fund wrote down $180 million from Akpoko Trade Invest, a company recently embroiled a $400 million PIC payout for its stake in Lanseria. Despite these losses, the portfolio grew 13% to $2.69 trillion, with overall investment returns of $379 billion. But imagine if it hadn't written down more, 3.6 billion was written down. They reported 2.69 billion. So if they hadn't been so inept and invested in corrupt corporations, they would have returned to their pension fund 6.3 billion rand. But they didn't. They returned less than half that. This is a problem. Why aren't these funds being managed by competent organizations instead of state-run entities? From the CIA to crime intelligence, Brown Mokhotzi's testimony and 5 sensational claims. This is really getting crazy, folks. Absolutely crazy. In testimony, it sounded more Hollywood than judicial inquiry. Controversial ANC-aligned Northwest businessman Brown Mokhotzi made a series of claims before the Msonga Commission on Tuesday, including one that he was a crime intelligence agent and that KZN Police Commissioner Mkwanazi works for the CIA. Okay. All right. Okay. I'll bite. Why does he work for the CIA? What exactly do they think is in play here? Do they think like Americans are waiting for the collapse of South Africa to come in with our military and annex the country and take over the platinum mines? I mean, come on. Oh my goodness. 5 jaw-dropping revelations made by Brown Mokhotzi, Agent Mokhotzi. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Brown Mokhotzi, man. Oh my goodness. That's too funny. That is too funny. I'm sorry. That's this guy. Paging Dr. Jones. Dr. Jones, we have a patient for you. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Brown Mokhotzi, folks, is the agent. He's a secret agent. Brown Mokhotzi.
Jim Hurts. Just do.
Oh, Jim Hurts. Dude, that is AI. You're not real. Sorry, as a commercial just popped up. Message brought to you by Secret Agent Brown Mokhotzi and the Central Intelligence Agency. Hang on a second. Yes. No, I didn't tell people I work for the CIA. No. It's cool. We're good. You tell Agent 99 we're good, okay? Thanks. Yeah, all right, sorry. That was Langley. They were just calling me, telling me I shouldn't tell people about CIA. Just saying. Anyway, so secret agent, man, Bravo says that Mkwanazi works for the CIA. South Africa is entertaining, if nothing else, folks. It's entertaining, if nothing else, I'll tell you. Well, U.S. recent tariff modification could be favorable to South African agricultural exports. Well, mostly only oranges. There isn't much else that you're sending us that are eliminated. We don't buy avocados, bananas, coconuts, guavas from South Africa, to my knowledge. Yes, and your beef is all contaminated with foot and mouth disease, so I don't think we're going to be buying that anytime soon. Eskom. CEO says 100 billion in municipal debt is delaying unbundling. So they want to, that fellow's been eating a few cakes. They want to break the company up into 3 patronage puppies, and they can't do it because they're owed 100 billion rand from municipalities. Yes, Arctic, I do laugh because half the country believes that. That's exactly why I laugh. Stupid people should wear signs. Here's your sign. 2 people in South Africa have cost the country 500,000 jobs. Yeah, this according to analysis coming from Moderate Corporate Solutions, Peter Major, who said that 2 individuals in South Africa are directly responsible for the loss of 500,000 jobs. Who might they be? It's not Agent Mokhotzi. It's not him. Nope, not him. Nope, it is, of course, Gwede Mantashe and Cyril Big Mac Ramaphosa. Yep, that's right. That's who it is, folks. Modern Corporate Solutions mining analyst Peter Major stated that 2 men, Cyril Ramaphosa and Gwede Mantashe, have cost South Africa over 500,000 jobs. Told Biz News that President Cyril Ramaphosa and Minister of Resources Gwede Mantashe have done tremendous harm to the mining industry. Their inability to address concerns raised by local mining industry. South Africa's mining industry has been plagued by policy uncertainty, threats of nationalization, and deteriorating infrastructure. It's remained flat output for 20 years as companies have been hesitant to invest in new projects or expand existing operations. So 500,000 jobs have been lost because of those 2, according to the analyst. And I don't doubt it, probably more. Mom, guess who I just bumped into? A horrific story here of a young lady who was going to pick up her driver's license. It was her last text. Mili Vimbani, a 19-year-old from Durban, vanished in Mthatha shortly after collecting her driver's license and sending her mother a cryptic final message. They've been searching for her in Durban and Mthatha in distress, but there have been no clues about her whereabouts. Police are investigating her disappearance. Her 427-kilometer journey from Durban to the Eastern Cape to collect her driving license turned into a family's worst nightmare when she disappeared after sending her mother a final cryptic message. Mom, guess who I just bumped into? She's been missing for 6 days. The 19-year-old traveled there after getting a text message from King Shabata W, a local municipality, informing her that her driver's license was ready for collection at the traffic department. When she finally arrived in the afternoon last Thursday, she collected her license and sent her mother, Nonyo Menko, 39, a photo of the card. She had passed her test in June. Soon after sending the picture, she sent a voice note, laughing hysterically. I'm ugly on this picture, Mom. I thought it was going to be better than one on my ID. They both laughed about the picture in the voice message. Minutes later, she sent another text, Mom, guess who I just bumped into? Her mother said, who? But that's the last time they heard from the young lady. She's been missing for 6 days. Wow. We went to the taxi rank and bus station in Durban asking drivers if they'd seen her. No clues were forthcoming. We went to the nearby police station, report her missing, then traveled to Mthatha, also report her to the police station. Initial investigation was conducted, and it was all in vain. She passed her matric in Durban last year. She applied for a Bachelor of Nautical Science at Cape Peninsula University, was provisionally accepted, but later told the program was full. Told her to do the driving license this year after an unplanned gap year. She had also applied Northwest. My goodness. I hope nothing bad happened to this young lady, but I seriously doubt that it's good news. Seriously doubt that it's good news. Awaiting for the Bucks, Franco Mustard is free to play, and the red card was rescinded, but the damage was done. It could have cost the Springboks a game. Springbok lock Franco Mustard is free to play after the red card he received against Italy was rescinded by a World Rugby Disciplinary Committee. Late on Tuesday, the committee determined that the match officials had erred in issuing a red card on fly half Pablo Garbisi, when his tackle fly half Garbisi. The committee, which was chaired by Australia's Stephen Hardy, determined that the level of the danger of the tackle did not meet the red card threshold. The panel members in the committee were from New Zealand and from Wales. An insider told News 24 this is because the contact attack was deemed indirect and slipped up to from the chest and shoulders to make slight head contact. A statement from the Quilter Nation series later confirmed the evidence established that the initial contact made by the player was directly to the shoulder of Italy 10, and there being daylight between the shoulder and contact, the head of Italy number 10. Head contact was then found to have occurred, but it was found to be secondary to the initial shoulder contact made with much lower force and without the requisite level of danger required for a rugby's head contact process. Red card was subsequently dismissed and he expunged from his disciplinary record. Meanwhile, the Bucks have also appealed Luti Jager's 4-game suspension for dangerous tackle on Tomas Ramos earlier this month. We're waiting for a verdict on that. So there you go, folks. Yeah, well, the TMO needs glasses. He's the one that started all this crap, the TMO. Ivory on the line. Namibia is trying to sell 46 tons of... Can you imagine 46 tons? How many elephants they had to kill for that? But the CITES agreement stands away. Despite widespread international opposition to any reporting of trade in reopening of trade in elephant ivory and rhino horn, Namibia is going to ask the Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species, Wildlife and Flora and Fauna at a meeting in Uzbekistan this month to approve the sale of 46 tons of ivory and permit trade in the stockpiled rhino horn. It has been prohibited since 1989 and rhino horn since 1977. 46 tons of this stuff. That's insane. Man, all these animals killed so that people can get erections. Just buy Viagra and make little tchotchkes. Elsa, thank you for becoming a member. I appreciate that. World Rugby is ruining a perfectly beautiful game. Yep, too much talk in the refs and not about the game. Yep. South Sudan's Salva Kiir reappoints a former vice president. South Sudan's President Salva Kiir has reappointed his former Vice President James Wana Iga to the same position, the state broadcaster confirmed, after dismissing a powerful ally who had been widely seen as a potential successor. Fears of return to civil war are growing as uncertainty surrounds the succession of the 74-year-old Kiir, who has repeatedly sacked, reinstated, and sometimes again sacked senior officials. Iga was a former Speaker of the House, previously served as Kiir's vice president from 2013 until he was sacked in February. But of course, he replaced Riek Machar, who was the vice president previously. President Trump announces that Saudi Arabia is now a major non-NATO ally. That is a significant step. President Trump surprised attendees at White House dinner with Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman by announcing the U.S. is formally designating Saudi Arabia as a major non-NATO ally. Taking our military cooperation to even greater heights with this action is very important to the Middle Eastern country. They signed a strategic defense agreement between the two, strengthening the 80-year defense partnership between the U.S. and Saudi Arabia. Of course, the U.S. famously defended the Holy Land. We never get credit for protecting the Holy Land. We defended the Holy Land from aggressive invasion by secular Saddam Hussein, a secular Muslim who sought to overthrow the Holy Land and take over the oil fields of Saudi Arabia and eventually, obviously, Mecca. We, as Western Christians, defended that. I was there. We prevented the Iraqis from overthrowing the Saudi regime and taking over the holy sites of Islam. We did that. Never get credit for that. Never get credit. We defended Muslims. We protected lives, saved Kuwaiti lives, saved Iraqi lives, but we never get credit for that. No, just called Islamophobic. Trump says heads of major countries will join the Gaza Peace Board. Wow. Heads of major countries will be on the Board of Peace to oversee the establishment of interim technocratic government in Gaza. Under the second phase of U.S. brokered ceasefire between Israel and the terrorist group Hamas, the security responsibilities in Gaza are to be transferred to a new international stabilization force with an initial 2-year mandate. The yet-to-be-filled Board of Peace would oversee the creation of a government comprising Palestinian international experts and eventually hand authority over to Gaza to a reformed Palestinian Authority, creating what the document describes as a credible pathway to Palestinian self-determination and statehood. Well, there you go. President Trump. Where is South Africa's government? Where are they in this Board of Peace? What role have they played in brokering peace in Gaza? No, they're busy with a fraudulent case of genocide in the International Court of Justice against Israel instead of brokering peace and getting involved. They don't want peace. Anyway, China will suspend imports of food from Japan, seafood, amid diplomatic row. Diplomatic dispute between the two countries deepens over Taiwan remarks by Japanese Prime Minister Sanae Takaichi. So the Chinese are pissed off because Japan is recognizing Taiwan as a legitimate player. China will again ban all imports of Japanese seafood as a diplomatic dispute between the two countries escalates. Japanese public broadcaster NHK and Kyodo News Agency said on Wednesday that the seafood ban follows after China earlier this month lifted import restrictions on Japanese marine products, which were imposed by Beijing in 2023 after the release of treated radioactive water from Japan's crippled Fukushima nuclear plant into the sea. But the ban comes amid deepening crisis relations between Beijing and Tokyo over remarks by Japanese Prime Minister Sanae Takaichi. The premier told Parliament on November 7th that Chinese attack on Taiwan, which threatened Japan's survival, was one of the few cases would trigger military response from Tokyo. She simply told the truth, and they didn't like that, so now they're not going to import seafood. Ridiculous. The Netherlands has eased up returning control of a chip manufacturer to the Chinese. Uncertainty over the availability of the company's chips, which are used in cars and electronics, added to concerns of a global shortage. Chinese-owned chipmaker Nexperia. The Dutch government said today that it was handing back control of the chipmaker to its Chinese parent in an effort to ease tensions that had flared after the Netherlands was caught in a tussle between Washington and Beijing over electronics supply chains. All right. Poland, Romania scramble jets after Russia strikes Ukraine. Both nations have been seen repeated violations of airspace during the war. Poland and Romania both scrambled fighter jets on November 19th amid Russian airstrikes. Warsaw said Polish and Allied aircraft were deployed early in the morning to ensure safety in the nation's airspace. Wow. Duty fighter pairs and early warning aircraft have been scrambled, and ground-based air defense systems, as well as radio detection and ranging reconnaissance systems, have been reached a state of maximum readiness. That's crazy, folks. Getting crazy there. Well, Trump's tariffs are having a major impact. It's slowing down imports and fixing our balance of trade disparity. The steep tariffs Trump issued in August led to a significant contraction in imports, and the trade deficit shrank. President Trump's sweeping tariffs took a toll on trade in August as imports of goods and services dropped 5.1% to $340 billion after taxes on exports from roughly 90 countries went into effect on August 7th. It's actually August 9th. The data, which incorporates less than a month of Trump's new tariffs, illustrates how sharp increase in trade taxes has scrambled life for international business. U.S. firms clamped down on purchase of foreign machinery, industrial supplies, pharmaceutical ingredients, and telecom equipment as tariffs went into effect after months of stockpiling that had filled their storerooms and warehouses. U.S. goods exports also fell in August, shrinking $500 million to $179 billion as the rest of the world bought fewer American consumer goods, cars, car parts, and gold. That was offset by an increase in exports to U.S. services, including travel. Because of the sharp fall in imports, U.S. trade deficit in goods and services for the month also dropped sharply, shrinking 24% to just $60 billion. $60 billion. That's some good news. Maybe we'll get a positive trade at some point. A bill to force release of the Epstein files has sailed through Congress and it heads to Trump's desk. The House voted overwhelmingly Tuesday to force the Justice Department to release all the files from investigating Jeffrey Epstein. The vote was 427-1 after bipartisan duo Representative Thomas Massey of Kentucky and Ro Khanna of California led a discharge petition to gather signatures. Yep, so 427-1. The Senate was unanimous. The House was 427-1. But that's not the end of it. Former U.S. Treasury Secretary Larry Summers, a Clintonite, has resigned from the OpenAI board after the Epstein files were released. Trump has played this like a violin. He's played it like the fiddle, folks. Trump, he's got nothing to hide, he said. He's mentioned all over the files, but that's because people are trying to find ways to curry favor with Trump and so on. But Democrats, prominent Democrats, that's why for 4 years these files weren't released. This is the 5th release now. 4 the Trump administration has done. The 5th will be forced by Congress. 5 times Trump administration and the government are now releasing Epstein files. And who is in it? Democrats. Why was it 4 years? Why was it 4 years that none of these files were released? If the Democrats had Trump in their sights, if the Democrats had a smoking gun saying Trump did something wrong with Epstein, it would have been released in those 4 years. But now people are losing their minds. Why won't Trump release the files? Why won't Trump release them? First off, grand jury testimony can't be released. You have no authority to do that. So why won't Trump release the files? He's released it 4 times and no one's satisfied. Why? Because they're not getting the smoking guns they're looking for. Well, now the smoking guns are coming out and the demon rat scumbags are already falling by the wayside. Larry Summers is gone. Larry Summers is gone. Yep. Former U.S. Treasury Secretary Larry Summers resigned from the OpenAI board. It said Wednesday, several days after Congress released documents that showed he shared a close relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. Former president of Harvard University said he would step back from all public commitments, adding the move was to allow him to rebuild trust and repair relationships. Dude, you are going down. You are going down. So Larry Summers, former president of Harvard University and Treasury Secretary. This is one of these corrupt, nasty bastards that is in the Epstein files. So the Democrats are going to get what they wanted. They wanted the Epstein files. The MAGA nuts are going to get what they wanted. You got the Epstein files. Now, who are you going to find? Who are you going to find? Ghostbusters? No. You're going to find demon rats all over the place. Probably a few Republicans, too. A lot of perverts out there. The Democrats are squirming amid mounting evidence of their party's Epstein connections. Ooh, my goodness. Democrats avoided explaining why members of their party, including a top leader, were reaching out to Jeffrey Epstein years after he was convicted of soliciting prostitution from a minor in order to register as a sex offender. So senior Democratic officials were communicating with sex offenders, registered sex offenders. They also denounced a measure censuring Delegate Stacey Plaskett, Virgin Islands Democrat, who was texting Epstein for helping questioning a witness during congressional oversight. Yeah, so she was also in contact with Epstein, but not for sexual pervert, but to pervert the means of justice. Yep. Trump and Epstein were besties, says little Hotown Jasmine Crockett, Texas demon rat. We've all seen the pictures of them. We saw a birthday book. So why are you all more interested in talking about Stacey Plaskett? Well, because Stacey Plaskett perverted the means of justice. Donald Trump has 2 photographs at the Epstein place in 25 years, and the birthday book was fabricated. So little Jazzy, go back to your corner and walk the corner because you have no idea what you're talking about here. Little Jazzy. The batch of 22,000 documents published last week by the House Oversight and Reform Committee include a solicitation for Epstein's money from a firm representing Hakeem Jeffries. Larry Summers has stepped down. Ms. Plaskett is in trouble. Democratic donor Reid Hoffman is also mentioned there. Oh my goodness. Wow. Democrats are squirming now because they've been caught up in it. When the United States has signed a deal with Canada and Finland for an icebreaker fleet. We have one icebreaker. It's embarrassing. The most powerful country in the world, we only have one icebreaker, and it's like 60 years old. U.S. Coast Guard will receive 11 cutting-edge polar icebreakers, with most being built in the U.S. in a partnership with Canada and Finland to help defend Arctic against adversaries like China and Russia. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem joined Kirsten Hillman, Canada's ambassador to the U.S., and Finland's Minister of Economic Affairs, Sakari Puisto, to sign a joint statement of intent to bolster their icebreaker fleets by strengthening industrial cooperation. There you go. Oh, it says we have 3 icebreakers. When did we get 3? We had 1. Okay, one was purchased in December 2024. So now we're up to 3 icebreakers. One of them is 60 years old. As part of the deal, Finland and Canada agreed to invest in U.S. shipyards and train American workers on unique job skills required for specialized projects like a polar icebreaker. There you go. September this year, Canadian shipbuilder Davy announced a $1 billion plan to acquire Gulf Copper Manufacturing Corporation company facilities in Port Arthur and Galveston, Texas for building the icebreakers. 4 of the icebreakers will be built in Finland, while the remaining 7 will be built in the U.S. The first 2 are already under construction. There you go. When your cutters are 50 years old and your helicopters are 45 years old and you don't have icebreakers to protect your country, you can't do more with less. Exactly. The Coast Guard is getting $25 billion investment from the One Big Beautiful Bill, largest funding commitment in its history. So President Trump has committed the largest amount of money for acquisition in the history of the U.S. Coast Guard. President Trump. Texas's Governor Abbott is designating CARE, the Muslim Brotherhood, as foreign terrorist organizations. The designation would authorize the state attorney general to shut down both organizations in Texas, according to Greg Abbott. Woo! The Muslim Brotherhood and CARE have long made their goals clear: to forcibly impose Sharia law and establish Islam's mastership of the world, he said. The actions taken by the Muslim Brotherhood and CARE to support terrorism across the globe and subvert our laws through violence, intimidation, and harassment are unacceptable. Well, Texas has declared CARE a terrorist organization. Wow, that's huge. A court has blocked Texas' effort to redistrict. A federal court on Tuesday blocked Texas Republicans' new congressional map, saying it illegally denied minorities their voting rights. In a 2-1 ruling, the court said Governor Greg Abbott and a Republican-controlled legislature had racially gerrymandered the new map to eliminate seats held by black and Hispanic lawmakers. That violates the 1965 Voting Rights Act, which, by the way, is unconstitutional. So who cares if it violates the 65 Voting Rights Act? The Voting Rights Act forces the government to create artificial districts by eliminating whites so that there are black members elected to Congress. That's not equal justice before the law. That violates the 14th Amendment, equal protection under the law. That is wrong. So anyway, we'll see. Home insurance is skyrocketing in America because people keep building homes in ecologically unsafe areas. This Louisiana resident expects to pay 45% more for home insurance this year. This is what's happened to home insurance. In 2014, an average home was $2,300, then it dropped to $2,020, and now it's $3,863 in Louisiana. It's a rapid shift. It's sending tremors through the real estate market. I'm telling you, I pay 3 times, almost 400% for insurance of what I paid when I bought this house a few years ago, and the value of the house hasn't improved 400%. Florida has 85% increase in premiums. Well, they should have an 85% because people keep building houses in the path of hurricanes, and we have to rebuild them. Maryland, 104%. That's because of Democrats running the state. Climate shock is eroding some home values. Well, it's not climate. It's insurance companies because people keep building ecologically unsafe areas. So here's a map of what's going on with insurance rates in America. Average annual home insurance premiums. Wow. This is what people are paying. And you'll notice that Pennsylvania is one of the lowest insurance places in the country for insurance. Colorado is one of the highest because of forest fires. Utah is relatively low. Nevada's low. Oregon's low. Central Valley, California is low. But the Northeast, Maine, and parts of New York, most of West Virginia, Pennsylvania are relatively low. But still, my home insurance has risen by nearly 400%. Look at that. Look at that. Pennsylvania, one of the lowest right there. Wow. Home insurance costs are skyrocketing because people keep building stuff in unsafe areas. Tinky Keiser, thank you for the 14 rand super chat. Well, the MIT wasn't mentioned in the story. That's why I'm not mentioning it, Holden. I'm analyzing that story. Energy Department issues a $1 billion loan to reboot 3 Mile Island. Constellation said the upgraded facility, dubbed the Crane Clean Energy Center, will power 800,000 homes. But that's a lie. That's a lie. They've recommissioned it from Microsoft. Unless they've changed their plans, Microsoft requested this for a data center. The Department of Energy said November 18th it issued a $1 billion loan to Constellation Energy to restart a nuclear generating station at 3 Mile Island. Would help lower costs by starting the plant in the Susquehanna River in Londonderry Township. No, it won't. It will bring 835 megawatts of baseload power online, which will power 800,000 homes. But that's not true. The reason for this loan was so that Microsoft could use all the electricity for a data center. So somebody's lying somewhere. Well, Iowa City has made buses free. There's no such thing. This is a fantasy of leftists. Traffic is cleared and so did the air. Ridership jumped, people cut back on driving, and over the summer, the city extended the program another year. Yes, it means other people are paying so you get a free ride. There was a psychiatrist, a librarian, a substitute teacher, and a graduate student in biomedical engineering. There was an Amazon warehouse worker who just finished his night shift, and a man who lost his driver's license because of an incident in Florida that he didn't want to talk about. They were all riding Iowa City's buses one sunny November morning, and they were all amped up about the same thing, that everyone got to ride for free. Well, no, somebody's paying for it. Ridership has surpassed pre-pandemic levels by 18%. Bus drivers say they're navigating less congested streets. People drove 1.8 million fewer miles in city streets. According to government emissions, dropped 24,000 metric tons of carbon dioxide a year. They're just estimating this. 5,200 vehicles off the roads. Huh. You don't have to figure out your bus pass. And before it was $31 a month. Now it's free. Free city buses are relatively rare in the United States because they're not free. They're not free. They're also crappy. They're crappy. It's a college town. Yep. So there's people waiting for a bus. Well, that's lovely in July or August, but in Iowa City, they'll be under 3 feet of snow, freezing their butt off, standing in the cold. Yes. Look at this. Boy, they go out of their way to find non-Iowans. Iowa's 97% white, but watch these photos. That lady's not white. That gentleman's not white. That man's not white. She's white, that lady. No white men. Vincent Hisser, Hadia Ahmed, Abbas Mahmadi, and Jennifer Griffin. 97% white, but they can't be bothered to put white people in the story. Thank you, New York Times, pretending that Iowa's a multicultural, diverse state. It's not. I lived in Iowa. It's whiter than bread. But that's not what we put in the story because they have an agenda. They have an agenda. 705 people. Down to 587. Where'd everybody go? Didn't like the music? Sorry about that. Thanks for being here, folks. Thank you for the super chats. Thank you for the new members. And I'm not going anywhere. That's the news for today. We finally got through it in a little over an hour. Lots of retirees in Florida choose to live in a fifth wheel trailer and not pay insurance. Conceivably, they can move out of the way of a hurricane. That's true. President Trump is wise in regards to military necessities. Nothing is for free. That's right. People are paying for it elsewhere. Well, yes, Daniel Whitfield, but it pushes up the rates for everybody else. When people build multiple homes in the path of tornadoes and hurricanes like they do in Florida, it drives up my insurance cost. I have to pay for it. It's wrong. You're welcome for the news, William. Hey, Shawnee, what's going on in Minnesota? Yeah, it was recommissioned for a data center. Right, Alan? That's what they said. I remember. I covered the story. What rubbish is affecting your eyesight? The chat? You're not going to mention the Council of Foreign Relations trial. Hold on. Why are you asking me these questions? I'm reading the news. This isn't an analytical video on a topic. I'm reading the news. If it's mentioned there, I'll mention it. And sometimes I mention things that aren't mentioned there. But no, that's. Why do you want me to mention that? Yeah, the Democrats have been pushing the narrative that Trump did something wrong. And they're making a big deal about it. But the Democrats are the ones being exposed. And that's what I said all along. Think about it for a second. They tried to murder him, shot him in the head, tried to murder him at a golf course. They filed fictitious, bogus lawsuits against him about election interference and also about, getting an illegal loan from Deutsche Bank. When Deutsche Bank said it wasn't illegal, they made the loan, they paid it back. We got all our money. What's your problem? And then they violated the Constitution by fining him $454 million, which is excessive. And they also didn't want to give him bail. It's just, they violated the Constitution left and right with fictitious lawsuits. They went after him for this fake documents thing. We know now the Justice Department planted top secret document covers and documents at why aren't there prosecutions of the people who planted that stuff? If they actually put classified information, that means they carry classified information needlessly to Florida to stick in Mar-a-Lago so they could take photographs. Now, I think it was really just the document covers, not actual classified documents. But that's fraud, perpetrated by the very people responsible for ensuring that things are done correctly in this country. That's fraud. Where are the prosecutions of those criminals? Yep. So if you think for a moment that the Epstein files have something that is a smoking gun for Donald Trump, I'm here to tell you that either it's fictitious or it doesn't exist. Why? Because for 4 years, the Democrats, especially the last year during the campaign, they could have destroyed Donald Trump if they had a smoking gun. They didn't have a smoking gun. Do you know why they didn't have a smoking gun? Because one doesn't exist. And for the guy that left my channel and got all pissy earlier this year, living in Arizona, good riddance to you. Your obsession with the Epstein files, now you're going to find there's nothing there. For the Republicans anyway, at least for Trump. Most Afrikaner refer to the USA are fake liberals. Who knows their number? Okay, huh? Most Afrikaner refugees to the USA are fake liberals who know that their days are numbered. I don't know about that. Where are you getting that from, soldier? Everyone I've talked to, with one exception, has been under the age of 50. I respectfully request you please see the video I sent on WhatsApp. Our DA counselor Warren, the cloud gathering lady. See how she reacts and laugh. Okay. All right. Well, thank you for the 70 Ram Mad Max. You also can be a little demanding at times. Okay.
Minister Pemi Majodina will be evaluating local infrastructure damage. This, of course, follows.
This is 6 minutes long. I'll get a copyright strike from ENCA.
Growing concerns about flooding near Bloemhof Dam due to increased water released from the Vaal Dam. Residents in downstream areas have had to evacuate due to flooding. ENCA reporter Bafudile Moerane has more and joins us live now. Bafudile, once again, good morning. I believe you have the minister with you.
Of course, generally, the minister, Pemi Majodina, has arrived here at Bloemhof Dam, which is standing...
Okay, this I'll show you on the screen for a moment. Okay. If this is Pemi, look at how big this woman is. Oh, don't give me for fat shaming. Just this is insane. Look how big she is. There's that's not it. Here's the journalist. There's the poor journalist. Look at that young lady. Look at her. Look to the left. Look to the left over her right shoulder. Watch this.
At 111% capacity at this point. We can hear.
Okay, let me just put that on mute till we get her up there. Let me get it. Come on.
Standing at 116 2 days ago, we have opened 5 sluice gates. Currently,
does she even know what a sluice gate is? She's got a personalized jacket on. It says Minister Penny Mojina.
the water is standing at 110 in terms of the volume, and there is no need for us to have opened earlier. The people who are blaming us, who are complaining, they must blame themselves because they've encroached our flat line. They are not supposed to be where they are.
Well, that part she's right. Pemi Mojina is correct. They are not supposed to be where they're at. And that's the problem in KZN with the flooding. People set up in flood zones where they're not allowed to live. Yep. Thank you for the super chat. Learned today that the word for violence in Hebrew is Hamas. I don't think so. My heart stops when I don't hear my son in the house because I know he's busy with crap that he doesn't want us to know about. Okay. Any possible link between Hamas and the recent asylum flights? I have no idea. I don't know. And I don't really care, to be honest. I mean, this was part of the agreement, and Israel is living up to the agreement, and that's what matters. Hold them to it. Nobody. Thanks for everything. I did my statement in June. Nothing. Did my American 4 November up to 3 morning. Got my phone. What do you mean American? You mean the intake questionnaire? You're welcome. Elephants were being killed for food in Zimbabwe. Yes, they were. I remember. They were starving. Country similar to Sodom and Gomorrah, similar hospitality towards minorities. Oof. Hey, Sedgefield, what's going on? Swearim, World Rugby is killing the game. Absolutely killing it. And I have a Planet Rugby thing. Let me find that one. That story is it over here? Here we go. Yeah, here we go. Let me bring these stories up over here. So I got a couple things. I had more stuff to talk about, but I didn't get into it. Just too much time rushing around. So first off, Springboks are world leaders in low illegal tackles, and stats prove it. Jared Wright says. Yep, Rossi is right to be fuming. Springboks coaches have expressed, and there's the tackle right there by Funku Mostart. You can see he didn't hit him in the head. Springbok coaches have expressed their frustrations over the red cards issued to Luke Diaga and Franco Mostart for the good reason. Diaga was issued with a permanent red card for his dangerous tackle on Tomas Ramos, and then Mostart was given his marching orders for a similar hit on Pablo Garbisi. On both occasions, the officiating team deemed the actions of Buck Locks were always illegal, meaning the yellow card and subsequent referral to the foul play review officer was not needed. If that wasn't the case, then a 20-minute red card would have come into picture, but ultimately Angus Gardner and James Dolman issued full red cards. Speaking after the respective incidents, Springboks head coach Rossi Rasmus was visibly frustrated. We've learned to accept decisions, he said when asked about Diaga being sent off. He said, I think it was a red card, but I don't know if it was a permanent red card. That's probably debatable. After the Mostart red card, he was fuming, emphasizing he cannot understand what more the officials want from his players, adding that he and his coaching team are left baffled. Losing 2 5-locks in 2 games for not going lower than they can. It's tough to understand. I'm not saying anybody's wrong. Well, he is being very diplomatic. But we don't know how to coach guys even lower. We're a very proud team. The way we do level charges to try and avoid head contacts. We receive just so many red cards. Yep. Anyway, but he's right. The standard was set by former defensive head coach Jacques Nienaber and has since continued under Jerry Flannery and the team's strength and conditioning coaches, formerly Aled Walters and now Andy Edwards, playing pivotal roles. Tags such as Springbok hunters aren't just incorrect, but grossly represent a team that does pride itself in making low aggressive tackles, and the stats back it up. During the 2023 Rugby World Cup, only Romania and Samoa averaged more low tackles than South Africa, with Argentina posting the same average. Fellow finalists, New Zealand averaged 48%, while South Africa's at 52.2%. Scotland, renowned for their choke tackles and tactics to hold up the ball carrier, produced the lowest percentage at 32.4%. That means that 70% of Scotland's tackles were not low tackles in the World Cup. Rastus claims the Bucks are a good, proud team. He's right. The stats back it up. Yep. In the Rugby Championship, comparing the Rugby Championship and the Six Nations this year, South Africa, let me see if I can get this screen, come up bigger on the screen. Yeah, there we go. Hang on a second here. There we go. So here's the stats for comparing those two events. They're different tournaments, but comparing those. What's going on here? There we go. So here's the highest rate of low tackles is South Africa. 724 low tackles to 771 high, 8 choke tackles. So 48.17% of their tackles are low this season in the Rugby Championship. For the Six Nations, Ireland was at 44%, Argentina at 36%, and Scotland at 32%. South Africa is far and away the best team when it comes to obeying the law, but they're being punished because of the bias and bigotry against South Africa because they're so good. So good. That's the bottom line. Not fair. That's what Stick had to say. How South Africa are treated, says the coach. South African assistant coach Mwandile Stick claims the Springboks have been treated unfairly following red card incidents in their wins over France and Italy. Yep, every week we're losing players and it's sad. Yep, he added, I don't want to say things and end up also being banned like Rossi in the past. We've never talked bad about other teams. We always try and play in a good spirit, and hopefully things can just be between the four lines. We were treated fairly? I don't think so. Yep, if you look at the past 4 red cards with our players, we had Makazole Mapimpi suspended, who is not on a tour at the moment. The guy is on 47 tests, missed out on a tour to make it to 50th. The Jan-Henrik Vessel youngster also missed out, suspended. Lutiaga, which I feel after this weekend, everything that I've seen, even with the Fiji and the France game, the cleanouts that were there, the Ireland game against Australia, situations are even worse than what those guys have been suspended for. Then for them, they're suspended, but other players will come back and play this week. Surely, somehow, somewhere, this is not fair. I don't think we deserve this as a team. We're doing everything in our powers to make sure we send the right message when it comes to how we play the game. He's right. If you look at the actions of Franco Mostart, Lutiaga the previous week, he's done everything by the book. Exactly. His only mistake was maybe just the contact was there, but it ended up on the head. To understand how does that become a permanent red card? For them to say the tackle was never legal is disappointing. It's also wrong. And now World Rugby has admitted that it was wrong. It's wrong. It's wrong, 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 wrong. This is bigotry and bias against South African rugby. And it's from the old boys club in the Northern Hemisphere. That's where it comes from largely. Yep. Welcome, Andre Wagner. Is it true that Vessels was cleared? No, I haven't seen that. Let me see if Vessels was cleared. Jan and the Arak. Let's see if he's been cleared. I haven't seen any news on that. Let me see. It's 2 weeks ago. No, I see nothing. Nothing. So I don't know where you're getting that information from. I'm not saying it's not true, but I have nothing. Seen the theme for the G20? Yeah, no, that's been the theme all year. I know, Laura Jean, both. That's why Trump and the USA don't want to be part of it. We don't agree with that. It's nonsense. That's not the role of the G20. It's not about solidarity. It's not about Ubuntu. It's not about equality. It's not about sustainability. This is a leftist agenda, and we don't want any part of it. JP Molinens, thank you for your subscription. I appreciate it. Exactly, Conrad. They never should have been a 9-game suspension. There's no evidence. He did admit that he did it. They had no evidence. It's he said, and they have no evidence of it. When I was overweight, my brother-in-law joked, I buy my clothes at Renault Tent. Oh, that's crazy, Krista. That's also mean. Where is Pemi Mujibina's cat in the hat? Yeah, she needs a cat in the hat. So we've seen that that Mostart's was removed, and they're appealing the Franco Mostart. That one should be removed too. That's why there is a bunker system to get it right. Right, but they went straight and avoided it. It's true. Hamas means violence. Well, that's I don't know about that. You said in Yiddish. Anita says, Trump stopped allowing Epstein at Mar-a-Lago in 2007. The fact that somebody attended 25 years ago a party and spoke to Epstein does not mean Trump did anything wrong. Exactly. But they're trying to hang on to that. They're hanging on to that. But I did not have sexual relations with that girl. That's what the perjurer-in-chief said to Congress. He lied. He perjured in Congress. She didn't join the struggle to be slim. She has her own weather system. She has her own satellite system. She has her own gravity. I don't know what's on her head. Vol River's full. I can almost not reach my work. Its Clip River's also pushing up. She opens the sluice gate when she eats. See what happens? You don't dredge dams in the down season for years. Exactly, Deanie. You have to maintain dams, and that's not just the structure of the dam; it's also the underlying ground behind it. Because sediment flows in and it fills up, and that's less space for the water. Yep. They sent her because she can float. Nobody is going to more classified intel becoming public. Now we know how rotten the intel community really is, thanks to Snowden. I don't know what you're talking about, the virtual Western Cape. I worked the intelligence community for decades. We're talking about rotten. There's no rotten. What are you talking about? You know, what you know is that Snowden broke the law. He's a treasonous bastard who should be executed for his crimes. Yeah, he endangered lives. Over 60 double agents were murdered because of Snowden. Yep. No. I don't know what you're talking about, virtual Western Cape. What is rotten about intelligence community? What? Tell me exactly what. Having worked at National Security Agency, Defense Intelligence Agency, U.S. Army Intelligence, with the CIA, with the National Geospatial Intelligence Agency, with the Department of Energy, with the FBI, with the CIA, please tell me exactly what it is that's rotten about the intelligence community. Please. Where are the French findings? I don't know. The guy jumped off a building. What more do we need to know? Why does she have to drive 427 kilometers to get her driver's license? I have to drive 15 kilometers. Isn't it ironic you have to drive to get your driver's license? She had to take the bus. Back to CIA jokes. Why shouldn't I work for NSA? Said my buddy. Goodwill Hunting. You did a good job, Jessup. Can you crack the hunting dialogue? Why do they punish people who aren't high risk, though? It doesn't make sense. Because they're national companies. So my insurance company is USAA. USAA was founded by 6 Army officers in the 1920s because they found that every time they moved, the government would relocate them from Texas to California or to Arizona or to North Carolina. Every time they moved across the country, they were getting screwed because insurance companies weren't national and they weren't licensed in multiple states. And then people got there and like, we don't know who you are. We don't know if you're a risk. You don't have a track record with us. So 6 Army officers got together in the 1920s and formed the United Services Automobile Association, an insurance company to insure military officers exclusively because they're a low-risk group. They're adults, they're well-behaved, they're respectful, and they don't generally have dangerous behavior. So they were low risk, and they were able to insure at low rates, and they were able to get licensed in multiple states, and so you could carry your policy all over the country. And they eventually expanded around the world. I had USA insurance in Germany. I had USA insurance in Italy. I did not have it in Africa because they wouldn't do it there. I had to get another company that did that. But in places where there's large U.S. troop presence, they have their insurance. They get licensed in those local countries, and they provide you the insurance. Now, my insurance was outrageously expensive from USA in Germany, but that's because the German law forced Americans and Brits and Canadians who were stationed there to pay outrageously high rates because they considered us to be high risk compared to the Germans. Of course, our DUI rate was much lower than Germans, so I don't know why that was. But anyway, so USA is my insurance company, but USA operates in all 50 states and foreign countries. USAA now allows enlisted to be part of it. And they also allow people who have no military experience to be in. So they've increased our danger pool. But they claim that's not the case because they put them in a separate holding company. Well, that separate holding company, if it has losses, they spread the losses over those who are more reliable, who don't have accidents and don't live in risky areas and don't do stupid things and don't have risky behavior. I'm not jumping out of planes on a daily basis, for instance. So in the civilian world. So when people have $4 billion in losses in Florida, they push the cost on everybody else. So my insurance goes up. My house insurance was $500 and some when I bought this house a few years ago. It is now $1,900 a year from $500. My income hasn't increased. My income has gone down by over 45% since I retired from the Army. I make 45% less money than I did then. That's why I can't afford a razor. That's why I can't afford a razor. And that's why I need super chats for the lobola that I got put forward, for my kids get married. So, yeah, I can't afford a razor because I'm 45% less income. So, it's tragic, but it's true. No, so I live in a place which should not have those outrageous insurance places. I'm not in a flood zone. I'm not in the path of hurricanes. I'm not in the path of tornadoes. I'm not in a spot where there's a chance for a forest fire. The homes here are physically far enough apart that the odds of one house catching fire and passing another are pretty slim because of large lots. So there are very little risk to the insurance company whatsoever, but they have nearly quadrupled my insurance to almost $2,000 in just a few short years. My home value has only increased by like 30 or 40% in those 10 years. But that's only if somebody's willing to pay it. It doesn't mean squat unless I sell the place. But then if I sell the place at that elevator rate, I have to buy a new house and spend all that money and more. Israel broke off the diplomatic ties to the UK. I didn't hear that either, Krista. Where'd you hear that at? Didn't hear that one. All right, where are we at here in the chat? Only South Africa can fight with the U.S., lose the argument, lose the attendance, lose the summit, then proudly announce we will not travel. Yeah. Yeah, we weren't expecting you. Did you look at the Ron White info I sent? No, enemy. I didn't see anything. Hang on a second. I haven't seen anything from you. Why is that coming up? I don't want that. I want this. I keep hitting the wrong button. Oh, that's why, because I played it inside WhatsApp. Okay, sorry, that is WhatsApp. Okay, Ron Wyatt. No, I don't think I know who that Ron Wyatt is. Driver's license backed up. She most likely applied a long time ago. Replayed applying. Yeah, I know, but why isn't it just sent? I mean, see, that's the problem when you only have one machine. So if you here, I can get driver's license anywhere within a 15-minute drive where I'm at and go pick them up. I can do testing and get them picked up. And it's handled by private corporations who have a contract with the state. Piece of cake. How many people in South Africa died of COVID? I have no idea, soldier's friend. No idea. No idea. I wish I could just have 2 kilograms for her. Food is way too expensive. It is, Miss Cutman. Food is expensive. Your insurance is high because your lot is big and they're expecting a good few. Nope, my lot is not big. I said big enough. It's not a big lot. It's big enough to prevent fire from leaping from one place in all but the heaviest of windstorms. Howard's crazy. Good to see you there. I don't think they send you to a non-existent post office. Well, you have other delivery means to South Africa. Otherwise, goods and services would not get around. My point is this, but I'm not sending. It's not one thing, but I'm saying you have one machine to make driver's license. We have hundreds of machines in the state of Pennsylvania, and probably thousands of machines to make driver's license. I can go get my driver's license replaced in a matter of minutes. I just go online, book an appointment, and I go there, and there you go. And suddenly I've got myself a new driver's license. Right there. See right there, driver's license. Anyway, piece of cake. No, it's a broken system. How can a country of 66 million people have one driver's license machine? It's embarrassing. Embarrassing. You shouldn't have to afford it. You should be able to get it. I mean, I can go all over the place to get things. How will we be able to afford that living? What living? Marley Quinn, what are you talking about? Yeah, all military bases have barbers. The barbers are not from the military. The barbers are private vendors or they work for the Army and Air Force Exchange Service. Yeah, so the War College has a barber shop at the Exchange. And they also used to have a barber shop in the basement of the War College. I don't know if they have one in the new basement because the guy used to died. He wasn't a very good barber. He would cut your hair in like 7 minutes flat, and it wasn't very good. So I quit getting my hair cut at the War College and started getting cut in a local town, and I've stayed loyal to that barber. Although I was paying $12, $11 for a haircut with a military discount back then. Now I pay $19 for the same haircut. I don't get a discount. Retirees don't get a discount. Work people, thank you. Find my razor. Is that good or bad? What? So, Miss Cutman, are you familiar with food socks? You might want to check into food socks. They're very inexpensive, nutritious. You might want to check into it. Food socks. Yeah, we can get you in touch with them. Yep, and they're very inexpensive. You can save a lot of money by buying food from them. One border scanner. Yep, exactly. Hey, Marcel Cook, what's going on? What's Mad Max's fantastic news? 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 Oh, yeah, that's what he said. Excuse me. You're surviving over there. Haircut is 150 Rand. Yeah, that's cheap. That's cheap. I got that awesome haircut when I was in South Africa the last time at Sandton City. In Sandton City. Got my haircut. Guy couldn't even speak English, but the other guy spoke for him, the Arabic guy there. And they did got my hair, got the beard trim, and people liked how my hair was pushed up. It was really good. I think that was 150 at Sandton City, and I gave a tip, so yeah. Driver's license being valid for 8 years for light motor, 2 years for taxis money. That's interesting. Yell Tapper just gave a 500 Rand super chat. Clouds are gathering. Pemi and Mojadina. There you go. Clouds are gathering. I paid $50 for a haircut in Texas. Joe, Texas, where the hell do you go for a haircut? A women's salon? Insurance is priced globally due to underwriters being large globalists. The KZN riots affected insurance possibly. Well, not USAA. We don't have any insurance there. So, but yes, you have a fair point. Food stock is a bit pricey for a household. Food stocks are like 49 Rand. You can feed a family of 4 on that. That's 10 Rand a person. No, I've not seen any term limits for house and centers. No. 70 Rand. Now that's good for a haircut, Justin. Yep. Thank you for that, Yell Tapper, for that super chat. Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that's expensive. That's not a lot of money. I realize maybe a lot of money to you, but in the scheme of things, it's not a lot of money even in South Africa, what they charge. It's very inexpensive. It's very affordable, so it's a shame. You're welcome, Just Chill. Well, thank you for the offer to do an interview. Let me check on something and see if something's come in here. Okay. Okay, somebody wanted me to check in on something, so they have got an update. All right, so I don't have to do anything on that. So, oh yeah, this is ridiculous. This racist garbage I saw about AfriForm. Yeah, about so-called, AfriForm have huge farms where they train people, and they it's just ridiculous nonsense. All right. Do we have anybody in Midrand? Anybody who's here now that's in Midrand or Randburg that can provide accommodation for someone who's in a bind that's undergoing interviews right now? If you can, please send me a message and I'll try to link you up. We have a person that's being helped that's become a burden on the person that's assisting because they're paying for their accommodation. It's becoming a bit much, so I'm trying to find alternates. Anyway, Midrand or Randburg, if you've got a place you can just put a person up for a couple of days, that would be great. Documentary on Herman Shah by Willem was eye-opening. It was a bite the hand that fed you guy. Are you talking about Willem Petzer? I didn't see it. My insurance is because I have never claimed yet, says Alan. Okay. Where in Israel were you stationed? I lived in Ben Brock for a while. It was wild. I lived down near Eilat at Ovda Air Base. Yeah, that's where I lived at, Ovda Air Base. I was there for several months. Yep, in the south. So I went snorkeling in the Red Sea. Oh my gosh, I have never tasted as salty water as I've tasted in the Red Sea. It was so salty. Oh my goodness. And the fish were just amazing. I don't like snorkeling because you got to be like right up on the surface and that's, But yeah, so yeah, I was there. So yeah, the Red Sea. It's pretty wild. Had some good deals on diamonds when I was in Israel. Bought a couple diamonds there because they cut them in Israel. So, yes, you remember that I was in Israel. Yep. Not close, but 40 minutes out. Excluding traffic. It's one person. One person. For a couple of days. But I don't think they have transport's the problem. So yeah. Yeah, I don't think they have transport. They took the bus. The person took the bus to get up there. Rith Shards, thank you for the 70 Rand super sticker. Oh, I love that. That's kind of that's a lovely little super sticker there. Just chill. The cause was they're doing construction, and they must have hooked something up, and it disrupted the power flow and the internet. Yep. Petzer, thank you. 630 likes. That's cool. That's cool. So we're doing well on these news streams, folks. We're getting, this is a bit later than the normal time. So we've got almost 5,000 people tuned in this way. We had 7,000 for the conversation yesterday. Don't forget, tomorrow we've got two big interviews. One with Jus Strijdom from the Oranje Beweging. I don't know how you guys say that in Afrikaans. Somebody went on one of my videos where I said nothing about pronunciation and attacked me. Quit telling Afrikaners how to pronounce their language. Who are you? What are you talking about, man? It's a video talking about, people coming over in a couple days. There's no mention of that. They're referring to when I was on a live stream. I guess that's how they felt they could just go comment on one of my videos. Yeah, but it's ephemeral. It's not. It's transitory. It won't last. So my live streams are doing well. Be great if there were 10,000 per live stream. Then we'd really have some traction. But the subscriber count needs to grow. We need to grow. We're not even 115,000 yet. So we got to reach more people. But tomorrow, Jus Strijdom, I'll be talking to him. We're getting close to 115,000. If I can get 45 more subscribers, we'll get there. Maybe we'll get there today. So Jus will be on. I haven't talked to him in a while. I've interviewed him before. So he'll be on the program. We're going to talk about the CNN interview. And then after that, we're going to have Lili van die Plas. So I used my German. I think that's what they're talking about, because I was, but I haven't done that video yet. So, because I said van der Plas, and I actually wrote to Lili and explained to her, but this person attacking me, I said that's my German shining through, because it would be the accused, or the dative case. So, van der Plas is if it's die Plas in German, you'd switch it to der because of the case. So, just my brain naturally says van der Plas, like van den Berg. So, der Berg, den Berg. Anyway, so it's just certain prepositions require the dative case, certain require. The accusative case is durch, für, ohne, gegen, If you use durch, für, ohne, gegen, durch, through, für, for, ohne, without, gegen, against, and around. If you use those prepositions, it's always the accusative case. If you use others like there's other ones that are the dative case. So I told her, I said, this is my German, because I had put it up incorrectly. I put up von der Plas, and it's von die Plas. So anyway, but that's because you just have one article in Afrikaans. In German, it's not that simple. It's not. You got to use your brain. You got to really work with German. It's not easy. Yeah, der becomes Dane, and Dane, and anyway, Dame, and die becomes der, and des. It's just. I am tired there, Virtual Western Cape. But I'm frequently tired because I'm working so many hours every day for everybody. Yes, I know it's Lili van the Farm. I know that. My brain was doing German. The audacity the American will try and tell us how to pronounce words in Dutchman language. Yes, Dutchman's language, exactly. Now, maybe they're watching my live stream where I was talking about Blauberg. Afrikaners say Blauberg, but it's spelled Blauberg. And my habit is pronouncing things phonetically. I say Blauberg. That's when you look at that, B-L-A-A-U, bag, B-E-R-G, Blauberg in German. But South Afrikaners say Blauberg, but a lot of South Africans say Blauberg as well. So whatever. I mean, but a guy attacked me for that. It's not spelled Blauberg. It's spelled B-L-A-U. It's pronounced Blauberg by Afrikaners, but someone attacking me over that. I mean, really, that's what you're upset. And then someone also attacked me. I rushed out to make that video about Professor G breaking the news that there had been an asylum case. We haven't even talked about it. Nobody's asked about it. There is an asylum case approved for an Afrikaner now, but it's a unique situation. Like most asylum cases are that get approved. This is a person whose parents were among the 59ers that came over, and they were already here working H-2A visa, I presume. I don't know if that's fact, whatever Professor G may explain. But Professor G told me that, and I said, hey, do you mind if I make a video? Because he wasn't going to be able to make a video until the night, and I wanted to break the news. So I said, but I don't want to steal your breaking news. He said, no, please do it, because he knew I would promote his channel. And I said, I told people to go to his channel. So I did one, but he also did a short as well. Yeah, it's like Blaupunkt. That is the brand. Correct, Philip. Yep. Cutting my hair because it's really long and didn't want to pay $3,500. Well, good Lord. That's crazy, Mace. Yeah, that's a lot of money. Yes, you're right, Garrett. German language is a difficult language. Yep. Read a very interesting story of the most dangerous grave in the USA. Military guy got exposed to radiation. Yeah, someone told me about that. Yep. Radiation in Twin Falls. Yep. Work my butt off to exhausted, so I'm listening because I'm suffering from, I don't know what that is, FOMO. Names can change. Who knows what remain of the place in a few years from now. Exactly. All right, Anita, you have a good one? I am a perfect ad for Duolingo and Babbel. Yeah. Language. Get in the game, folks. Language is fantastic. You learn about people. You learn about a different way to think. German is constructed differently. Hätte ich das gewusst, dann werde ich. If I'd only known that, then I would have. You don't say it in English the same way. You change around. La Mola Beach. Oh, God, Deanie. La Mola Beach. Can you imagine? Yeah. Oh, fear of missing out. Thank you for that. I didn't know what that was. Okay. Blau Klippen makes great wines. Teaches you to slur. Working hard to learn U.S. history so I don't arrive there and have to wear a stupid shirt. Well, Mad Max, a lot of people don't know American history, especially Democrats. Taught myself German, had to stop speaking Afrikaans altogether as every time I tried. Exactly, Lana Banana. I mean, Ronaldo doesn't do it so much anymore. He used to make fun of me all the time against pronunciation, and people always tell me I speak Afrikaans like a German. I do, and I freely admit that. I'm not going to deny it. That's the truth. Why would I hide the truth? But German is my second language. Afrikaans is more like the fourth. Anyway, so let me see how this one's doing. I think it's slowed down now. Nope, going to hit 70,000 here probably. It's picked up again. So I'm getting about 3,500 views per hour on my Trump, extermination thing. 71 new subscribers. That's good. Keep going, boys. Keep going. So I've got 3,439 likes. 28 dislikes. Wow, there's a lot of hate wankers out there. Now, you don't have to be a hate wanker to dislike it. But what do you dislike? I mean, I told the truth. I told the truth about Trump. I told the truth about what's going on. I also said that what he said is, well, it's hyperbole. It's not the most accurate. The refugee flight thing finally hit 5,000 subscribers, 5,000 views. That's good. That's good. I'm going to make a video after this about people going to the website for the embassy. Okay, you must warn white South African. You must warn. Okay, WARN white South Africans. Remind them about Lorenzo Marcus, Mozambique. Now those criminals are running out of options. Remember Rhodesia? They blame. Oh no, I have, Jan. We've talked about this endlessly. We've talked about all these things endlessly. Mozambique went down to crapper, but Mozambique wasn't very good even for the Portuguese back in the day. Whereas Angola was pretty good for most people. And Rhodesia was pretty good for most people too. It just wasn't fair. People are so crazy. My husband, my boss told us to leave. One, because we're leaving. Two, because we cannot give them a date when we're leaving. Well, I wouldn't have told anybody anything, Adele. See, once again, you shouldn't have told people. Right. I learned German first and Dutch. Well, I mean, I've told guys this story. I went to Soesterberg Air Base back in the 1990s in the Netherlands. Thank you, Jeanette, for subscribing. Went there in the 1990s, and I stayed at Soesterberg Air Base right next to the flight line. And I just come out of the shower, and I had to turn the TV on. It was a Dutch television station, and they started speaking. And then the Dutch gentleman who was doing the news, he spoke, and there was this, I mean, oh my gosh. This was the most gorgeous woman. She was beautiful. She was the announcer. And then he finished speaking. It was her turn to speak. And I was like, oh my gosh, she's so gorgeous. And then she started talking. And I was like, oh, no, make it stop. Oh my gosh. The horrible words coming out of her mouth with her Dutch pronunciation. It was brutal, man. It was brutal. Well, Adele Rowe, there's other reasons you can't make work. I'm not telling you to lie, but there's other reasons. Oh, but it's also late in the stage for you. Got it. What else? My brother lives in Texas. He went over on a student visa. He completed studies and got work permit, but he struggles to find work. I advised him to be careful. Okay, first off, why would he apply for asylum if he has a work visa? If he has a work visa, he doesn't need asylum. He's allowed to stay here. And why does he struggle to find work? What is he in? Underwater basket weaving? Unemployment's 4%. Texas unemployment. Let's take a look at Texas unemployment. How is he struggling to find work? He must not have the skills. Texas unemployment rate is currently at 4.1. It's the same as the national rate, 4.1%. The state added 37,000 non-farm jobs in April this year. Jobs are growing at a rate of 1.5% more per year. In Midland, the rate is only 2.6%. I mean, I don't understand how he struggles in Texas. I mean, I don't know what his skills are, but obviously he shouldn't be struggling. Why is he in Texas? Why does he stay in Texas? Go to Utah. Go to North Carolina. Go somewhere where there's jobs. Oh, Portuguese is an angry language. Oh my gosh. When I heard Portuguese spoken in Portugal for the first time, I felt like I was in the East Bloc, like a Slavic language. They do gargle when they talk the Dutch, yeah. Whenever you have small kids, they have let the cat out of the bag at school. Not much we could do. The young had difficulty sticking to our story. Well, yeah, I understand that. Did the kids have to go for the interview? You couldn't put them with someone in care. I don't know if kids have to go, little kids, the interview. Huh. Armin van Buren, state of the something. Dutch speaking English is quite hard. Yeah, it is kind of weird to listen to it, but they can speak it. They're very good at languages, the Dutch generally speaking. Something is less than $10,000. Well, you can take, no, you can, okay, is that about bringing money in? You can bring as much money as you want in the country. You just have to declare anything over 10,000. Anything under 10,000, you don't have to declare. I'm late to the game. Only submitted my form on Monday. My daughter has epilepsy. She said she didn't want to go to America, and I couldn't leave her. God does work in mysterious ways. She said she'll go. Well, I don't know why you wouldn't come to America. You're going to need the best care in the world for epilepsy here. It's, just saying. What is Melensa asking? You have to declare stuff to SARS, yes. Oh, there it is. Please clear something up for me. I have sold all my things. Question is how much money am I allowed to take? You can take. Okay. Well, I can't answer that question. I understand that you can take as much as R1 million out of South Africa per year per SARS. You can bring as much money as you want into America. We're not like South Africa where you can only bring 25,000 rand into the country or equivalent, or plus dollars. Then you can bring a certain amount of dollars into. But in America, you can bring the money in. You just have to declare anything over 10,000 when you arrive. Yep. I don't know who Armin van Buren is, but that's not a German spelling of a name. Armin is German, but van Buren, van is not German. Van is V-O-N is German, and Buren, there wouldn't be two U's in there. Yeah. Annabelle says, maybe you can courier the cash to Chris and collect the stateside. For a small fee? Absolutely. Absolutely. Too many fingers for my 36 golden rings. Okay, Dina, that's okay. All righty. Yes, we got 436 people here still here. That's amazing. Yeah, who couriers cash? Send electronically. All right, Elmarie, take care. No, I won't charge 50%. I'm very reasonable. 3% or less. 3% or less. 3% or less. Well, I mean, I can't rail against MoneyGram and Western Union about their excessive fees and then do the same thing they do. I couldn't possibly do that. Fear of missing out. Yeah, we got that. You're way behind, Renee. That was a long time ago. Righty then, folks. Quite the comedian times. Trance artist has been a scene for years. Okay. Hammond von Straten gave 140 Rand super chat. Thank you. That's your first super chat. Thank you for that, Hammond. Wow. Any relation to Thea? You don't have to answer that question. I haven't heard from Thea in donkey years. She's disappeared on me. People want manager jobs of the bad. Don't realize they're going to have to work themselves up again. Send me your account number, yeah. At 1.5%, we have a deal. Well, Xavier, if it's a large amount, I mean, if you send a large amount, I can make more money, then I'll do less. I'll do a lower rate. I'm killing your smuggling ring. Snippets gave 14 Rand. Can you bring $1 million every year? Yes, you can. Snippets, you can, according to SARS. But that's subject to change. They can change that at any time. Oh, sorry. And they're getting more restricted because the country is being bled dry by people taking their money out of the country. What's that? Please have a look at it. I'm not sure this is right and legit. Okay. Just saw a video today about Edmund Fitzgerald that went down in 76. Yeah, it is the Edmund Fitzgerald. There's a whole song about it. Gordon Lightfoot made a song about it. You know, treatment here for cancer, no matter how you have it, you really don't. Well, Jay is getting treatment for her cancer. Jay Langton showed up here and she had cervical cancer. Obviously, it's something that developed while she was in South Africa. She had stage 2 or stage 4. I can't remember. I think it was stage 2, not stage 4. Obviously, stage 2, you don't get there in 2 months. So, yeah. So she had cancer in South Africa, was not diagnosed. She came here and she's getting treatment. She's doing well last time I talked to her. All right, Karen, you take care. 10% premium Irish whiskey. Yep. All right, Johan, take care. All right, I'm going to wrap it up here too, folks. It's been great. Thank you for your news, Colonel. Stay safe, Deanie. You guys take care as well. I'm on the radio tonight on the Common Sense Conservatives here in America. Excuse me, I'm yawning. Ugh. It's Common Sense Conservatives tonight, and tomorrow. Don't forget, we've got Johan Jus Schreidem, and then we've got Lili van die Plas tomorrow. Okay, cool. 2 interviews tomorrow, and I'm still waiting to hear back from Ernst Ritz. Let me see if he wrote back to me. Ernst. No. He wrote to me when I wrote to him on Monday, and I haven't heard back from him. I wrote to him on Monday, and then I wrote back to him again yesterday. So I haven't heard from him. It's Wednesday now, so probably won't be an Ernst Ritz one this week. All right. Okay, so thank you for the news. You're very welcome. All right, you guys be up for Common Sense. That'll be great. So we'll see you later. Thanks for being here, and tune in tomorrow for those things. It's going to be great, folks. Interesting stuff tomorrow. Okay? All righty, that's going to be it. Where are we at here? Where are we at? Come on. There it is. Cheers, everybody. Take care.